The soft hum of chaos behind the curtain was exactly what Olivia Rose Cameron needed to keep her mind focused. Her fingers traced the delicate seams of the finale dress, her masterpiece for tonight's show, as assistants scurried around her. Private corner of the backstage area. Seattle's Fashion Week had never felt more crucial, and perfection wasn't just desired, it was required. 10 minutes until first walk, someone called out, their voice barely penetrating her concentration. Olivia adjusted her signature structured bun, platinum blonde hair pulled back so tightly it could have been painted on. Her blue-gray eyes scanned the workspace, checking every detail with the precision that had built her reputation. At 26, she'd created more than just a boutique. She'd built a sanctuary of minimalist elegance that reflected everything she wanted to show the world, and nothing of what she kept hidden inside. The zipper of the finale dress caught her attention. Something wasn't quite right with how it lay against the mannequin. Reaching around to adjust it, she found herself struggling with the angle. The perfectionist in her wouldn't let it go. Every detail had to be flawless. "Does anyone have a moment to help with this?" she called out, her voice steady, despite the pre-show tension coursing through her veins. "I can give you a hand." The voice behind her sent electricity down her spine. Deep, slightly raspy, with an undertone she'd spent 7 years trying to forget. Her fingers froze on the zipper, her breath caught somewhere between her lungs and her lips. She didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Alexander Reed. The man who disappeared 7 years ago after a kiss that had promised forever and delivered nothing but silence. His footsteps approached, each one echoing in her ears like thunder. The backstage chaos faded to white noise. She felt his presence before his fingers reached the zipper, the heat of him like a phantom touch against her back. "May I?" he asked, closer now. Professional. Distant. As if they were strangers. Olivia managed a short nod, her throat too tight for words. His fingers brushed against the fabric, adjusting the zipper with the same careful precision she remembered from his photography days. Back when he'd been rising in men's fashion photography, before he'd transformed into the renowned visual creator who now traveled the world. The zipper moved smoothly under his touch, but Olivia barely noticed. All she could focus on was the occasional brush of his fingers against her hand, each contact sending sparks through her skin. She caught his reflection in the mirror. He'd barely changed. Still 6'2" of quiet intensity, his wavy light, brown hair slightly longer now, those gray-blue eyes still capable of seeing straight through her carefully constructed walls. "There," he said softly, stepping back. It just needed a gentle touch. Olivia turned slowly, her designer's instinct, forcing her to maintain composure even as her heart thundered against her ribs. "Thank you," she managed, her voice surprisingly steady. "I wasn't aware you were covering this show." Alex's lips curved into a hint of a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Last-minute addition to the team. Your show's generating quite a buzz." Before she could respond, Maya Williams burst into their bubble of tension, her vibrant energy cutting through the awkwardness like a warm knife through butter. "Liv, honey, we need you for the final lineup check," and she stopped short, her dark eyes widening as they landed on Alex. "Well, look what the fashion gods dragged in." Maya's presence grounded Olivia, reminding her of where she was and what was at stake. This was her moment, her show, her dream manifesting after years of work. She wouldn't let old ghosts, no matter how handsome they'd become, derail her focus. "I should go," Alex said, taking another step back. "Good luck with the show, Olivia." She watched him disappear into the backstage crowd, his tall frame easy to track until he vanished behind a rack of clothes. Maya's hand slipped into hers, squeezing gently. "You okay, sweetie?" Maya asked, her voice low enough for privacy. Olivia squeezed back, grateful for her best friend's intuition. "I have to be. We have a show to run." But as she turned to follow Maya to the lineup check, her fingers drifted to her lips, remembering that last kiss from 7 years ago. The one that had tasted like promises and possibilities. The one that had haunted her dreams long after he'd vanished. She pushed the memory aside, straightening her shoulders. She was Olivia Rose Cameron now, Not the starry-eyed young designer she'd been back then. She'd built her brand on clean lines and clear vision. She wouldn't let one ghost from her past blur those lines now. But as she took her place for the final checks, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted in her carefully ordered world. Like a perfectly aligned seam that had been nudged just slightly off-center, creating a ripple that would eventually transform the entire garment. The show lights dimmed, signaling the 5-minute warning. Olivia took a deep breath, forcing her focus back to the present. She had an empire to run, a collection to debut, and a reputation to uphold. Even if her heart had other plans. Maya appeared at her side again, clipboard in hand, and determination in her stride. Her friend's natural hair was styled in an elegant updo, her bold geometric dress a statement of confidence that always inspired Olivia. "Everything's in place," Maya reported. "The models are ready, the music is cued, and the front row is packed with exactly the right people." Olivia nodded, but her eyes drifted to the photography pit. She caught a glimpse of Alex setting up his equipment, his movements as precise and graceful as she remembered. He looked up suddenly, as if feeling her gaze, and for a moment, 7 years disappeared in the space of a heartbeat. 3 minutes, called the stage manager. Maya's hand found her shoulder. "Whatever history just walked back into your life, it can wait until after we make fashion history. Ready to show them what you've got?" Olivia straightened her spine, letting her designer's armor slip back into place. "Ready," she said, meaning it. Mostly. But as the first beats of music began to pulse through the speakers, she couldn't help but wonder if she was ready for what would happen after the show. Because one thing she knew about Alexander Reed, he never showed up anywhere without a reason. And somehow she knew this was just the beginning. The after-party hummed with success and champagne bubbles. Olivia stood in a corner of the rooftop venue, Seattle's skyline twinkling behind her like a constellation of dreams come true. Her show had been perfect. Every seam, every walk, every moment exactly as she'd planned. Yet her victory felt incomplete, overshadowed by the lens that had captured it all. To the woman of the hour, Maya appeared beside her, offering a fresh glass of champagne. That finale dress, pure genius. Even Vogue's editor couldn't keep her poker face. Olivia accepted the glass, her fingers automatically straightening the stem until it aligned perfectly with her hand. "Did you see the reactions when the lights hit the crystal beading?" "Honey, I saw jaws drop so fast I thought we'd need a cleanup crew." Maya's laugh carried across the terrace, drawing genuine smiles from nearby guests. "But something tells me you're not thinking about crystal beating right now." Before Olivia could respond, a deep voice cut through the ambient chatter. "The lighting sequence was inspired." Alex stood there, camera hanging from his shoulder like an extension of himself. He'd changed from his backstage clothes into a charcoal suit that made his gray-blue eyes look stormy. Professional photographer, Alex Reed, acting as if their earlier encounter hadn't shaken both their worlds. "I designed it myself," Olivia replied, proud that her voice remained steady. Every shadow, every highlight had to enhance the movement of the fabric. It did more than that. He stepped closer, and Olivia caught the faint scent of his cologne. Still, the same after all these years. It told a story. Each piece revealed something new as the model moved, like chapters unfolding. Maya glanced between them, her expression knowing. "And on that poetic note, I need to check on the catering situation. These mini quiches won't serve themselves." She squeezed Olivia's arm before disappearing into the crowd, leaving them in a bubble of charged privacy. Olivia took a sip of champagne to hide her uncertainty. "I'm surprised you're still here. Don't you usually disappear right after the final shot?" The barb found its mark. Alex's jaw tightened slightly, but his voice remained gentle. "I deserve that." "You deserved worse?" "I know." He shifted his weight between his feet, that old tell of his discomfort that she remembered so well. "The photos will be ready tomorrow morning. I thought maybe we could review them together for the campaign." Professional. He was keeping it professional. Olivia could do professional. She'd built an empire on professional. "My office 9. She said, turning to face the cityscape. Maya handles all my scheduling. Olivia, the way he said her name, soft, almost pleading, made her grip tighten on the champagne glass. Can we talk? About what happened? 7 years ago? She kept her eyes on the city lights. Ancient history. You know it wasn't that simple. A burst of laughter from nearby guests gave her an excuse to step away. Nothing ever is with you, Alex, but right now I have guests to thank and investors to charm. 9 a.m. Don't be late. She walked away, her designer heels clicking against the rooftop tiles with determined precision. She felt his eyes following her, heavy with unspoken words and explanations she wasn't ready to hear. The rest of the evening passed, in a blur of congratulations and business cards. Olivia played her part perfectly, the successful designer, gracious and composed. But beneath her carefully curated exterior, memories kept surfacing like air bubbles in champagne. 7 years. Earlier, the photography studio had been quiet that evening, most of the staff already gone. Olivia, fresh out of design school and burning with ambition, had stayed late to adjust the samples for next day's shoot. The lighting's better at night, Alex had said, finding her among the racks of clothes. Everything looks more honest. She'd looked up to find him watching her with those intense eyes. He'd already made a name for himself in men's fashion photography, but lately he'd been branching out, taking on smaller projects that spoke to his artistic vision. Is that why you're still here? She'd asked. Looking for honesty? He'd moved closer, camera absent for once. Something like that. The kiss that followed had tasted like possibility, sweet and dangerous and full of promise. His hands had been gentle in her hair, freeing it from its usual strict style. She'd felt beautiful, seen, understood. The next day, he was gone. No explanation, no goodbye. Just an empty studio and a heart she'd had to stitch back together on her own. Present Earth to Olivia. Maya's voice pulled her back to the present. The party had thinned out, leaving only a handful of guests. You've been standing here for 5 minutes straightening your bracelet. Olivia looked down at her hands, caught in the act of compulsively aligning her jewelry. Just making sure. Everything's perfect. Honey, Maya took her hand, stilling them. It's been perfect. The show was perfect. You can breathe now. He's going to be in my office tomorrow. I know. I got the calendar notification. Maya's dark eyes softened, with concern. Want me to schedule some catastrophic emergency? Olivia managed a small smile. No. This is business. I can handle business. Maya raised an eyebrow. Just like you handled business 7 years ago when you redesigned an entire collection because the colors reminded you of his eyes? That was different. I was younger. And now you're older, wiser, and totally immune to those soulful photographer eyes? Olivia didn't answer. Across the rooftop, she caught a final glimpse of Alex leaving, his camera bag slung over his shoulder. He paused at the door, turning back as if he could feel her gaze. Their eyes met across the space, and for a moment, she was 20 again, believing in possibilities. Then he was gone, and she was left with the echo of what could have been. Maya squeezed her hand. Want to come over? I've got ice cream, wine, and zero judgment. I can't. Olivia straightened her shoulders. I need to review the preliminary campaign layouts before tomorrow's meeting. Everything has to be perfect, Maya finished. I know. Just remember, sweetie, sometimes the most perfect things in life are the ones we don't plan for. As they gathered their things to leave, Olivia's phone buzzed with a message. Unknown number, but she knew who it was before she opened it. The photos captured everything tonight, but not what matters most. See you at 9. A. She slipped the phone back into her purse, ignoring the way her heart had jumped at those simple words. Tomorrow was about business, just business. But as her car wound through Seattle's late-night streets, she couldn't help wondering what else those photos might reveal, and what secrets Alex Reed had brought back with him after 7 years of silence. The city lights blurred past her window, each one a reminder of the dreams she'd built without him. Dreams that suddenly felt both more solid and more fragile than ever before. 9 a.m. suddenly seemed very far away, and much too close. 8:45 a.m. and Olivia had already rearranged her desk 3 times. Each pencil sat at a perfect right angle, color-coded files aligned with military precision. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her office, Seattle's morning fog created a dreamlike backdrop, as if the rest of the world had temporarily ceased to exist. "You've straightened that skirt 6 times, Maya observed from the doorway, holding 2 cups of coffee. "The wrinkle you're fighting doesn't exist. There's always room for improvement." Olivia smoothed her hands over the charcoal pencil skirt, one final time, then accepted the coffee Maya offered. "Have the preliminary sales numbers come in?" "Already on your tablet, along with the social media metrics from last night." Maya perched on the edge of Olivia's desk, her bold yellow dress a stark contrast to the office's minimalist design. "The finale dress is trending. Several major influencers are calling it the highlight of Seattle Fashion Week." Olivia nodded, but her eyes kept drifting to the clock. 8:52. "He'll be here," Maya said softly. "Though I'm still voting for that emergency flood I could arrange in the bathroom. This is purely professional." Olivia took a sip of her coffee, perfectly prepared with just a hint of vanilla. "We're reviewing campaign photos. Nothing more." "Right. Just like last night was purely professional when you kept watching him during the entire party?" Before Olivia could respond, her office phone buzzed. "Ms. Cameron, Mr. Reed is here for your 9 o'clock. 8:57. Of course. He'd be early." Maya stood adjusting her dress. "Want me to stay?" "No." Olivia squared her shoulders. "But keep your phone close." "Always do, honey." Maya paused at the door. "Just remember what I said about perfect things sometimes being the ones we don't plan for." The door had barely closed behind Maya when Alex walked in, carrying a leather portfolio and a laptop bag. He'd chosen dark jeans and a gray cashmere sweater that somehow made him look both casual and devastatingly put together. His hair was slightly damp as if he'd just showered, and that familiar scent of his cologne filled the space between them. "Good morning," he said, his voice carrying that morning raspiness that sent unwanted shivers down her spine. "Morning." Olivia gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Shall we begin?" Alex sat down, his movements deliberate as he unpacked his laptop. "I processed these all night. There's something special here, Olivia. Something beyond just fashion." She tried to focus on the professional implications of his words, not the way he said her name. The lighting sequence was particularly effective. It wasn't just the lighting. He turned the laptop toward her, and suddenly the screen was filled with her finale dress, but not as she'd ever seen it before. The photograph captured the exact moment when the model had turned at the end of the runway. The dress moved like liquid starlight, each crystal catching the precise angle of illumination. But it was more than technical perfection. There was emotion in the image, a story told through fabric and shadow. "You've always seen more than what's on the surface," Alex said quietly, clicking through to the next image. "Even back then." Olivia's fingers tightened around her coffee cup. "We're here to review photos, Alex, not memories. The two aren't always separate." He paused on an image that made her breath catch. It was a backstage shot, one she hadn't known he'd taken, her, in profile, making last-minute adjustments to a sleeve, completely absorbed in her work. The intensity of her focus was almost tangible. "Delete that one," she said automatically. "Why?" "Because it's not about the collection. It's about you." His voice softened. "The woman behind the designs? The one who still lines up her pencils when she's nervous?" Olivia stood abruptly, needing distance. She walked to the window, watching the fog slowly lift from the city below. What happened 7 years ago? The question escaped before she could stop it, hanging in the air between them like smoke. She heard him shift in his chair. That telltale movement of discomfort. It's complicated. Isn't it always with you? She turned back to face him. You disappeared. No explanation. No goodbye. Just gone. Do you know what that did to the collection I was working on? I saw it, he said quietly. The one that launched your career. All those sharp angles and protective layers. It was brilliant. It was armor. The admission cost her, but she forced it out. Every stitch, every seam was designed to keep things out, to keep me safe. Alex stood now too, running a hand through his hair in that familiar, frustrated gesture. I never wanted to hurt you. I was trying to protect. A knock at the door cut him off. Maya entered with a tablet in hand, her expression professionally neutral, but her eyes full of concern. Sorry to interrupt, but the buyers from Nordstrom are on line 1. They want to discuss immediate orders from last night's collection. Olivia grabbed the lifeline. Thank you, Maya. Alex, if you could send the complete photo set to my team, we'll review and get back to you with our selections. Olivia. He started packing up his equipment, but his eyes never left her face. We need to finish this conversation. No, we need to finish this campaign. Professional boundaries, remember? Something flickered in his expression. Pain, maybe. Or resignation. Like the professional boundaries 7 years ago? The ones that forced me to... He stopped himself, jaw clenching. Maya cleared her throat pointedly. Nordstrom's holding. Send the photos, Alex. Olivia was already reaching for her phone. My team will be in touch. He paused at the door, looking back at her with those storm-gray eyes. You're not wearing a single piece of armor today, he said softly. That black dress? It's pure you. No sharp angles, no protective layers, just beauty and strength and everything you've always been. Then he was gone, leaving Olivia to stare at the empty doorway while Maya quickly closed the door. Honey? Maya's voice was gentle. There is no Nordstrom call. Olivia sank into her chair, suddenly exhausted. I know, thank you. Want to talk about what just happened? No. Olivia reached for her tablet, needing the comfort of work. But I need you to clear my schedule for dinner tonight. I have some designs to sketch. Maya's expression softened with understanding. Creating another armor collection? No. Olivia opened a blank document, her fingers hovering over the screen. Something different this time. Something about... truth. As Maya left the office, Olivia's gaze drifted to the laptop screen, still showing that candid photo of her at work. She saw what Alex had seen. The passion, the focus, the raw creative energy she usually kept so carefully contained. Her phone buzzed with a text. The photos tell the truth, Olivia. So do I when you're ready to hear it. She should delete it, should maintain those professional boundaries she'd insisted on. Instead, she found herself saving the number, letting her fingers trace the edges of her phone like she used to trace the edges of photographs in his old studio. Outside her window, the fog had finally lifted, revealing a clear Seattle sky. But inside her mind, shadows of the past still danced with rays of present light, creating patterns she wasn't quite ready to understand. Or maybe, whispered a quiet voice inside her, patterns she understood all too well. Past midnight, and Olivia's design studio felt like a different world. Sketches covered every surface, each one more raw and honest than the last. Her usual precise lines had given way to fluid movements, emotion bleeding through every stroke. Her platinum hair had long since escaped its proper bun, falling in soft waves around her face as she worked. The buzz of her phone startled her. Maya's name lit up the screen. You need to see this. Maya's voice was tense. Check your email. Now. Olivia pulled up her inbox, finding Maya's urgent message. The attached article made her blood run cold. Rising designer Olivia Cameron accused of design theft by industry giant Stella Corp. This is impossible, Olivia whispered, scanning the article. Every design is original. I sketch everything myself, you've seen me. I know, honey. But Stella Corp is claiming your finale dress bears striking similarities to their unreleased spring collection. Maya's voice hardened. The collection that won't debut for another 3 months. Olivia's mind raced. Stella Corp, one of the largest fashion conglomerates in the country. The same company that had tried to buy her out last year. The same company that... Her breath caught. The same company Alex had worked with 7 years ago. There's more, Maya continued. 3 major buyers have already put their orders on hold pending investigation. And the timing right after your biggest show? It's not a coincidence. Olivia stood, pacing her studio. Her heel caught on a fallen sketch, a design that now felt tainted by accusation. They're trying to destroy me before the collection can hit stores. We need legal representation. I can call... No. Olivia's voice sharpened with sudden clarity. First, I need answers, and I know exactly who has them. She ended the call despite Maya's protests, her fingers already typing a message to Alex. My studio, now, we both know why. His response came immediately. On my way. While waiting, Olivia tried to work, but her perfectionist's hands shook. Too much to draw. Instead, she found herself gathering the scattered sketches, ordering them by date, by style, by the emotions they represented. Control through organization, her oldest coping mechanism. The soft knock came 20 minutes later. Alex entered without waiting for her response, looking like he'd dropped everything to come. His hair disheveled, camera bag still slung over his shoulder. I saw the article, he said, closing the door behind him. Did you know? Olivia demanded, turning to face him. Is this why you came back? To help them destroy me? What? No. He took a step toward her, then stopped when she backed away. Olivia, I would never... Then explain. She grabbed her tablet, pulling up the article. Explain how Stella Corp knows details about my finale dress that weren't public until last night. Explain why they're claiming designs that came from my own hands, my own sleepless nights. Alex set his camera bag down carefully like he was buying time to choose his words. 7 years ago when I left, it wasn't my choice. Don't. Olivia held up a hand. Don't try to make this about our past. But it is. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in every movement. Stella Corp had just signed me to an exclusive contract. Big money, bigger exposure. But then their CEO saw us together at that industry party, saw how I looked at you. Olivia remembered that night, the way they danced on the edges of professionalism, every glance charged with possibility. The next day, Alex continued, they showed me proof they'd been watching you. Photos of your meetings with potential investors, documentation of every contact you'd made in the industry. They said they could bury your career before it began. The truth hit her like ice water. So you left. They gave me a choice, cut all contact with you or watch them systematically destroy everything you were building. His voice cracked. You were just starting out, burning so bright with talent and dreams. I couldn't be the reason those dreams died. Olivia sank into her chair, mind reeling. And now? Why come back now? Because I found proof. Alex reached for his camera bag, pulling out a thick folder. Proof of how Stella Corp operates. They've done this before, targeting young designers, stealing their work, destroying reputations. I've spent years gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment. And you thought my biggest show was the right moment? Anger flared again. You let me walk into their trap? No. Alex moved closer, and this time she didn't back away. I came back to protect you. I thought I had more time, but they must have seen me at the show. They're moving faster than I expected. Olivia looked down at her newest sketches. Designs. Born from the electricity of seeing him again. Raw, honest, vulnerable. Everything Stella Corp could twist and destroy. Show me, she said finally. Show me everything. For the next hour, Alex laid out his evidence. Photos, emails, internal memos, a pattern of corporate espionage and ruthless takedowns. With each revelation, Olivia felt her world shift, realigning. around a truth she wasn't sure she was ready to face. "Their CEO," she said suddenly, remembering something. "She was at the show last night, front row. Victoria Blackwell." Alex nodded. "She personally oversees every takedown." She smiled at me, complimented the finale dress. "Because she thought she had you exactly where she wanted you." Alex's hand found hers on the desk, warm and steady. "But she doesn't know what I know, what we can prove." Olivia looked down at their joined hands, remembering another touch 7 years ago, another moment of choice. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. "Back then, we could have fought them together. You were 20, full of fire and determination. Would you have stepped back? Let them win?" "No." "Exactly." His thumb traced circles on her palm, sending shivers up her arm. "You would have fought, and they would have destroyed you. I couldn't watch that happen." A knock at the studio door made them both jump. Maya burst in, waving her phone. "Olivia, we've got another prop." She stopped short, taking in their joined hands, the scattered evidence. "Well, hello, plot twist." Olivia quickly pulled her hand away, but not before catching the flash of loss in Alex's eyes. "Maya, we need to call an emergency meeting. Full team, first thing tomorrow." "Already on it." Maya's eyes narrowed at Alex. "I assume Mr. Tall, Dark, and Mysterious here is finally sharing his secrets?" "Some of them," Olivia said, standing. "But right now we need to focus on saving my company." Alex began gathering the evidence, his movements precise and protective. "I'll digitize everything tonight, create backups." "No." Olivia's voice was firm. "You've carried this alone for 7 years. This time we do it together." Their eyes met across the sketch-strewn studio. 7 years of pain and protection and unspoken truths hanging in the balance. Outside, Seattle's night sky pressed against the windows, as dark and deep as secrets finally coming to light. Maya cleared her throat. "I'll start the coffee. Something tells me none of us are sleeping tonight." As Maya left, Alex reached for another sketch, one of Olivia's new designs. His fingers traced the fluid lines, the emotional freedom in every stroke. "These are different," he said softly. "No armor. No more hiding," Olivia replied, taking the sketch from him. "From anything." They worked through the night, building their defense piece by piece. But with each document they reviewed, each strategy they planned, Olivia felt something else being rebuilt, something that had shattered 7 years ago, now slowly mending in the quiet hours before dawn. Whether it would emerge stronger or break again completely remained to be seen. But for now, in the safety of her studio, surrounded by proof of both betrayal and protection, Olivia allowed herself to remember how it felt to trust. And maybe, just maybe, to hope. The morning sun cast long shadows across Olivia's conference room as her team assembled for the emergency meeting. Sleep-deprived but determined, she stood at the head of the table, every line of her navy suit precise despite the all-night strategy session. Only her slightly loosened platinum hair betrayed any hint of disorder. "The accusations are baseless," she began, her voice steady. "But they're dangerous. Stella Corp isn't just attacking our finale dress. They're trying to destroy everything we've built." Maya, positioned at her right hand, distributed tablets to the gathered executives. "The evidence we've gathered is substantial. Not just about their attack on us, but their history of similar takedowns." Alex stood quietly in the corner, his camera absent for once. He'd changed into fresh clothes, but hadn't bothered to tame his disheveled hair. His eyes never left Olivia as she commanded the room. "Christina Wu Designs 2021, Reese & Company 2023. Olivia flicked through images on the main screen. Both rising designers, both destroyed by suspiciously timed accusations. From Stella Corp, both now defunct. "But we have something they didn't," Maya added, her bold red dress a statement of defiance. "We have proof of their pattern." The room erupted in questions. Olivia answered each one with calculated precision, laying out their defense strategy. piece by piece, but beneath her composed exterior, exhaustion clawed at her edges. What about the buyers who've pulled out? Richard Chen, her sales director, looked up from his tablet. Nordstrom alone accounts for 20% of our projected revenue. I have meetings scheduled with each one, Olivia replied. Once they see our documentation, it won't be enough. All heads turned toward Alex. He pushed off from the wall, moving to stand beside Olivia. Victoria Blackwell doesn't just attack designs. She attacks relationships, reputation, everything. By the time she's done, the truth won't matter. Then what do you suggest? Olivia fought to keep the edge from her voice. Having him this close, smelling of coffee and that familiar cologne, made it hard to focus. We need to go public first. Control the narrative. He pulled up an email on his phone. I have contacts at Women's Wear Daily. Let me... No. Olivia cut him off. The last time you tried to protect me, I lost 7 years. This is my company, my fight. Silence fell over the conference room. The team shifted uncomfortably, sensing the weight of unspoken history. Maya cleared her throat. Maybe we should... Take 5, get some fresh coffee. The room emptied quickly, leaving Olivia alone with Alex and Maya. As soon as the door closed, Olivia's professional facade cracked slightly. She sank into her chair, automatically straightening the pen set on the table. You're exhausted, Alex said softly. I'm fine. Honey, you're not fine, Maya interjected. You've been up for 36 hours and your hands haven't stopped shaking since you saw that article. Olivia clasped her hands together, stilling them. I can't show weakness, not now. It's not weakness to let people help you. Alex knelt beside her chair, his voice gentle. You don't have to carry this alone. Like you carried your secret alone. The words came out sharper than intended. 7 years of gathering evidence, watching other designers fall, and you never once thought to warn me? Every time I saw another designer destroyed, it confirmed I'd made the right choice. His gray-blue eyes held hers. At least you were safe, building your dream, creating beauty. Was I? Olivia stood abruptly, needing distance. Do you know how many nights I redesigned entire collections because I was afraid they showed too much of my heart? How many times I chose safety over creativity because I couldn't bear another loss? Maya moved to the door. I'll give you 2. A minute. But Olivia? The team needs direction. Real direction, not just perfect composure. After Maya left, silence stretched between them like a thread pulled too tight. Olivia stared out the window at Seattle's skyline, her city, her home, where she'd built everything she had. I saw every collection, Alex said quietly. Every show. Even from a distance, I watched you grow into an incredible force in this industry. Did you see the armor? Olivia turned to face him. The walls I built into every design? I saw someone refusing to be broken. He stepped closer. Someone, turning pain into power. That's why Victoria fears you. You're everything she can't control, talented, genuine, real. And now she's trying to take it all away. No. Alex's hand found hers, warm and steady. Now she's given us a chance to take her down. Together this time. Olivia looked down at their joined hands. I don't know if I can trust you again. I know. His thumb traced her knuckles. But right now you don't have to trust my heart. Just trust the evidence. Trust that I want to see Victoria Blackwell pay for every designer she's destroyed. A knock at the door made them step apart. Maya poked her head in. Sorry to interrupt the emotional breakthrough, but Victoria Blackwell just called a press conference for this afternoon. Olivia's spine straightened. Time? 3 p.m. and honey? She's bringing receipts, full sketches, timeline comparisons, everything. Forged evidence, Alex said. But convincing ones. She's had months to prepare this. Olivia moved to her desk, fingers automatically arranging items as she thought. Then we move first. Maya, call our PR team. We're holding our own conference at noon. Olivia, Alex started. Maybe we should... No. She turned to face them both. I've spent 7 years letting fear dictate my designs. I won't let it dictate my defense. She picked up her phone. Maya, get me Oliver Chen from Vogue. Alex, I need your complete file on Christina Wu's takedown. And someone get me coffee. We have 2 hours to change the narrative. As they scrambled to comply, Olivia caught her reflection in the window. Her perfectly structured suit, her carefully maintained image. All armor, just like her designs. But underneath, something new was stirring. Something that felt like the fire she'd had at 20, before loss had taught her to play it safe. What's the plan? Alex asked, returning with his files. Olivia smiled, and for the first time in 7 years, it reached her eyes. We're going to give Victoria exactly what she fears most, the truth, all of it. The next hour passed in a blur of preparation. Olivia moved through it all with precision, but something had changed. Her movements were no longer just controlled, they were purposeful, powerful. As the team reassembled, she felt Alex's eyes on her. She knew what he saw, glimpses of the young designer he'd left behind, mixed with the strength of the woman she'd become. Someone who could fight her own battles, but maybe, just maybe, didn't always have to fight alone. Ready? Maya asked, tablet in hand. Olivia squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of the moment, and the lightness of finally stepping out, from behind her walls. Ready. The Seattle sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the conference room in brilliant light. It caught the subtle crystal beading on Olivia's suit jacket, a detail she'd added at the last minute, a small act of defiance against playing it safe. In less than an hour, she would face the cameras, face Victoria Blackwell, face everything she'd been protecting herself against for 7 years. But this time she wasn't just fighting for her company. She was fighting for every designer Victoria had destroyed, for every dream crushed under the weight of corporate greed. And maybe, though she wasn't ready to admit it yet, she was fighting for a chance to trust again. Alex touched her elbow lightly. Whatever happens next, he said softly. I'm not disappearing, this time. Olivia met his eyes, seeing 7 years of regret, protection, and unspoken feelings. Good, she replied, because this time I'm not letting you. The room hummed with nervous energy as the team made final preparations. Outside, reporters were already gathering, hungry for the story. But for the first time since this began, Olivia felt truly steady. She had evidence. She had her team. She had her truth. And maybe, just maybe, she had something else too. Something that felt like a second chance, wrapped in the promise of noon sunlight and the warmth of gray-blue eyes that had never really stopped watching over her. The clock struck 11. 1 hour to go. Time to show Victoria Blackwell exactly what happened when you tried to cage someone who'd spent 7 years learning to fly. The hotel ballroom buzzed with anticipation. Camera flashes created a strobe effect as Olivia took her place at the podium. The Seattle skyline a dramatic backdrop through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Her white power suit was a deliberate choice, pristine, uncompromising, impossible to ignore. Maya stood to her right, tablet ready, while Alex positioned himself at the back of the room, his camera capturing every moment. The tension in the air was almost visible, like heat waves rising from summer asphalt. Thank you all for coming on such short notice, Olivia began, her voice steady despite the chaos of emotions beneath her composed exterior. I'm here to address the recent allegations made by Stella Corp regarding my latest collection. She paused, letting her eyes sweep across the assembled press. In the front row, she spotted Victoria Blackwell, elegant in charcoal gray, her silver hair swept into an immaculate chignon. The CEO's smile was razor-sharp, confident. She clearly hadn't expected this preemptive strike. For 7 years, Olivia continued, I've built my brand on originality, integrity, and innovation. Every sketch, every stitch, every crystal has come from countless hours of work and dedication. She nodded to Maya, who began displaying images on the massive screen behind them. But this isn't just about defending my work. This is about exposing a pattern of corporate predation that has destroyed too many promising careers in our industry. Victoria's smile faltered slightly. Christina Wu, 2021. A rising star in sustainable fashion accused of design theft 2 days before her major department store launch. The screens showed Christina's original sketches alongside Stella Corp's accusations. Reese and Company 2023. Innovative menswear destroyed by similar claims. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Olivia caught Alex's eye across the room, drawing strength from his slight nod. But unlike my predecessors, I have proof. She gestured to Maya, who distributed flash drives to key journalists. On these drives, you'll find documented evidence of Stella Corp's systematic targeting of independent designers, internal memos, emails, surveillance photos. Victoria stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This is absurd. These allegations are what, Victoria? Olivia's voice cut through the room like a perfectly sharpened blade. False? Like the accusations you're planning to make at 3 o'clock? Or should we discuss the real reason behind your attacks? The room fell silent. Even the camera shutters seemed to hold their breath. 7 years ago, Olivia continued, her heart pounding but her voice unwavering, you saw something that threatened you, not just talent but authenticity. You couldn't buy me, couldn't control me, so you did the next best thing, you isolated me, forced away anyone who might have supported my growth. Victoria's face hardened. You're delusional. These accusations include proof of your surveillance operation. Olivia nodded to Maya, who pulled up more images. Photos of private meetings, documented threats, even the contract you used to force Alex Reed's silence 7 years ago. The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Journalists scrambled to access, the flash drives whispering urgently into phones. Victoria's composure cracked visibly. Mr. Reed's contract was standard industry practice, Victoria said, her voice tight. Any implications otherwise are supported by his own documentation. Olivia gestured to the back of the room. Alex? He moved forward, camera still capturing everything. I spent 7 years gathering evidence, Victoria. Every designer you destroyed, every life you ruined, all while watching you build your empire on stolen dreams. Victoria's laugh was cold. And yet you ran away, left her unprotected. Some white knight you turned out to be. He protected me the only way he could, Olivia interjected. But I don't need protection anymore. What I need is justice for every designer you've targeted, every career you've destroyed. The room erupted in questions. Camera flashes intensified. Through it all, Olivia maintained her pose, every inch the confident designer she'd fought to become. But inside, her heart raced with a mixture of terror and exhilaration. Victoria pushed through the crowd toward the podium, her heels clicking like warning shots. You have no idea what you've just started, she hissed, low enough for only Olivia to hear. No, Victoria. Olivia smiled, channeling 7 years of buried rage into one perfect poised expression. I'm finishing what you started. The question is, how many of your clients will stand by you once they see the evidence? How many fashion houses will want to be associated with documented corporate espionage? For a moment, something flashed in Victoria's eyes, not just anger but recognition. She saw in Olivia what she must have seen 7 years ago, someone who couldn't be controlled, couldn't be broken. This isn't over, Victoria snapped, but her voice lacked its usual authority. You're right, Olivia's voice carried across the now silent room. It's just beginning. Maya? Maya stepped forward, tablet raised. We're announcing a class action lawsuit on behalf of all designers targeted by Stella Corp. Our legal team has already been in contact with Christina Wu and the Reese family. Would you like to comment on that, Ms. Blackwell? Victoria's exit was swift, her security team forming a barrier against the surging press. Cameras followed her retreat, capturing every step of her tactical withdrawal. As the room dissolved into controlled chaos, Olivia felt a hand on her lower back. Alex stood beside her, his camera finally lowered. You did it, he said softly. We did it. She turned to face him, aware of the cameras but past caring. 7 years of running, hiding, building walls. It ends today. Maya appeared at their side, her smile triumphant. Honey, you should see social media. The hashtag Dying Stella scandal is trending worldwide, and Christina Wu just tweeted her support. But Olivia barely heard her. She was lost in Alex's eyes, seeing something there she hadn't allowed herself to see before. Not just regret or protection, but pride. Pride in who she'd become and how she'd fought. "The light's perfect," he murmured, raising his camera one last time. "No armor needed." Click. The moment froze. Olivia in white, backlit by Seattle's midday sun, power and vulnerability perfectly balanced in her stance. A designer at the height of her strength, finally free of the shadows that had haunted her success. But the real photo, the one no camera could capture, was the one written in their shared gaze. A story of loss and protection, of strength found in vulnerability, of trust rebuilt in the aftermath of necessary betrayal. Victoria Blackwell had tried to write their ending 7 years ago. But standing there in the aftermath of truth finally spoken, Olivia realized something important. Sometimes the most beautiful designs come from reworking old patterns into something entirely new. The press conference wasn't just an ending. It was a beginning. And this time she was ready to design every detail exactly as she chose. The post-conference adrenaline lasted until sunset. Olivia sat in her office, heels discarded under her desk, watching Seattle's sky paint itself in shades of victory. Her white suit jacket hung over her chair, armor temporarily set aside. 4 major buyers have already reinstated their orders, Maya announced, bursting in with her tablet. And Women's Wear Daily wants an exclusive interview. Full spread, your story, your terms? Olivia nodded, fingers automatically straightening the pile of congratulatory messages on her desk. And Victoria? Gone dark. Her PR team released a statement about investigating these serious allegations, but industry insiders say she hasn't been seen since leaving the hotel. Maya's smile was fierce. Apparently her board of directors called an emergency meeting. Good. Olivia stood, moving to the window. The city lights were beginning to twinkle awake, each one a reminder of how much could change in a single day. Any word from Christina Wu? Better than word, she's flying in tomorrow, wants to join forces for the lawsuit. Maya paused, her expression softening. And Alex has been sitting in the lobby for the past hour, pretending to edit photos. Olivia's reflection in the window betrayed nothing, but her heart did a familiar skip. He can wait. Can he? Or can you? Before Olivia could answer, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Victoria Blackwell just boarded a private jet to Shanghai. My sources say she's trying to secure foreign backing before her. Board can vote her out. Oliver Chen, Vogue. She's running, Olivia said, showing Maya the message. Of course she is. Predators always run when the prey fights back. Maya perched on the edge of the desk. Speaking of fighting back, are we going to talk about that moment with Alex at the press conference? Because, honey, those photos are everywhere, and the chemistry practically melts the screen. Olivia moved to her design table, covered now in congratulatory bouquets instead of sketches. There's nothing to talk about. Really? Because I have about 50 news articles that say otherwise, not to mention 7 years of watching you design every collection with just enough edge to keep people from seeing how much you were hurting. I wasn't. Please. Maya held up a hand. I'm your best friend. I know every stitch of armor you've sewn into your life. But today that white suit wasn't armor, it was power. And the way you looked at him. A knock at the door interrupted them. Alex stood in the doorway, camera bag slung over his shoulder, looking somehow both confident and uncertain. Maya stood smoothly. And that's my cue. I'll be in my office pretending not to wait for details. As Maya left, closing the door behind her, silence filled the space between them. Alex moved into the room, setting his camera bag down with careful precision. I've been editing the press conference photos, he said finally. And you're still impossible to capture completely. There's always something more, something deeper that the camera can't quite catch. He ran a hand through his hair. Just like 7 years ago. Olivia turned back to the window, needing the distance. A lot has changed in 7 years. Has it? He moved closer, his reflection joining hers in the glass. Or have we just gotten better at pretending? I don't pretend. Anymore. She turned to face him. That was the whole point of today. I know. His voice softened. You were incredible, fierce, unstoppable. Everything I knew you could be. Everything I had to become because you left. The words hung between them, heavy with 7 years of unspoken pain. Alex flinched slightly but didn't back away. I thought I was protecting you, he said quietly. But watching you today, I realized something. You never needed my protection, you needed my trust. And now? Now? He smiled slightly. Now I'm done protecting you from anything, especially me. He reached into his camera bag, pulling out a small portfolio. These aren't from today. They're from 7 years ago. Every show, every launch, every triumph I couldn't share. I kept them as a reminder of what protection costs. Olivia took the portfolio with trembling fingers. Inside, she found herself younger, less guarded, captured, in moments of pure creative joy. The photos told a story of growth, of strength found in solitude, of beauty forged from pain. Why show me these now? Because you deserve to see what I saw. How you never broke, never compromised, never lost that fire that terrified Victoria. So much. He stepped closer. And because I'm done watching from a distance. Olivia's fingers traced a photo of herself at her first solo show, determination radiating from every line. I was so angry with you. I know. I redesigned entire collections. I saw them, every sharp angle, every protective layer. His hand covered hers on the portfolio. And every hint of the heart you couldn't quite hide. The air between them crackled with possibility, and this time, there was no Victoria Blackwell to fear, no contracts to sign, no secrets to keep. I can't go back, Olivia said softly. I'm not that young designer anymore. Good. Alex's thumb traced patterns on her wrist. Because I'm not that photographer anymore either. We've both grown, both changed. Into what? Into people who know the cost of running, of hiding. His other hand cupped her cheek, turning her face to his. Into people who might be ready to stop. The portfolio slipped from Olivia's fingers as she leaned into his touch. 7 years of distance collapsed into heartbeats. If this goes wrong, she whispered. It won't. His forehead rested against hers. Because this time, we fight together. No more protection. No more secrets. No more armor? No more armor. Their lips met in a kiss that tasted of victory and vindication, of trust rebuilt and walls finally lowered. Outside, Seattle's night sky sparkled with possibilities, each light a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful designs come from redesigning what was broken. Maya found them later, still wrapped in each other, surrounded by 7 years of photographs and new sketches that looked nothing like armor. About time, she said softly, closing the door on their private revolution. Sometimes the strongest patterns are the ones we choose to break. And sometimes the most powerful designs come from letting ourselves be seen, completely and without fear, by the eyes that have always known how to look. Dawn crept into Olivia's studio, finding her already at work. Her platinum hair was pulled back in a loose braid, a subtle change from her usual strict bun that spoke volumes about her transformation. Sketches surrounded her, each one more daring than the last. You never went home, did you? Alex's voice came from the doorway. He carried 2 coffee cups and concern in his eyes. Couldn't sleep. She accepted the coffee, inhaling the familiar vanilla scent. Victoria's been busy in Shanghai. She nodded toward her tablet where headlines screamed new accusations. International fashion blogs were buzzing with leaked documents suggesting her designs had been outsourced, her success built on hidden teams of underpaid workers. Maya's already working on our response. Olivia took a sip of coffee, letting its warmth chase away the night's chill. But the Chinese market is nervous. 2 major retailers there have pulled their orders. Alex set his coffee down and moved behind her, his hands finding the tension in her shoulders. You knew she wouldn't go quietly. I knew she'd fight back. Olivia leaned into his touch, allowing herself this moment of vulnerability. I just didn't expect her to move so fast. That's because you still think like a designer. His fingers worked out a particularly tight knot. Victoria thinks like a shark. She smells blood in the water, her own, and she's desperate. A knock interrupted them. Maya burst in, her geometric print dress a riot of colors that somehow worked perfectly together. Christina Wu just landed, and honey, you need to hear what she brought with her. Christina swept in behind Maya, her presence both elegant and fierce. 7 years after Victoria had destroyed her career, she'd rebuilt herself as a successful sustainable fashion consultant. Her eyes took in Alex's hands on Olivia's shoulders with knowing appreciation. Victoria's not just spreading rumors, Christina said without preamble. She's trying to buy a controlling interest in your biggest manufacturer. Olivia straightened, professionalism snapping back into place. Phoenix Textiles, but they're family-owned. And facing a hostile takeover. Christina placed a file on the desk. If she succeeds, she can shut down your production line just before holiday delivery dates. She'd kill her own profits to destroy me? Olivia's fingers found a pencil, automatically aligning it with the desk's edge. No, Alex said quietly. She'd destroy you to save herself. With your production line cut, you'd miss delivery dates. Major retailers would cancel orders. Your reputation would never recover. Olivia stood, moving to the window. Seattle's morning fog reflected her clouded thoughts. How long do we have? The Phoenix board votes in 48 hours. Christina's voice was grim, and Victoria's offering way above market value. Maya, who'd been unusually quiet, suddenly snapped her fingers. The Wilson account. All eyes turned to her. The sustainable fashion initiative we've been developing, Maya explained, excitement building. Phoenix Textiles was interested in partnering, but we put it on hold during the show. Olivia's mind raced. A partnership instead of a takeover. Something that protects their legacy while modernizing their approach. And, Christina added, catching on, with my sustainable fashion expertise, we could offer them a future instead of just a buyout. Olivia moved to her design table, pulling out fresh paper. Maya, get me everything we have on the Wilson project. Christina, I need your best sustainability proposals. Alex, he was already reaching for his camera. I'll document everything. Build the visual narrative they'll need to convince their shareholders. For the next several hours, the studio hummed with focused energy. Olivia's designs flowed with new purpose, incorporating sustainable materials and innovative production methods. Christina's expertise shaped each proposal, while Maya coordinated with legal teams and industry contacts. Alex moved through it all, his camera capturing not just the work, but the spirit behind it. The passion in Olivia's expression as she sketched. The determination in Christina's stance as she reviewed materials. The fierce loyalty in Maya's every movement. Phoenix's CEO just confirmed a meeting for this afternoon, Maya announced finally. Full board attendance. Olivia looked up from her sketches, her blue-gray eyes bright with purpose. Then we better give them something worth believing in. As the team gathered their materials, Alex caught Olivia's hand. Hey, you okay? She squeezed his fingers, drawing strength from the contact. Better than okay. For the first time, I'm fighting not just against something, but for something. This could change the whole industry's approach to sustainable fashion. His free hand brushed a loose strand of hair from her face. You're remarkable, you know. That? Flattery won't get you out of carrying the presentation boards, she teased, but her smile was soft. Not flattery. Truth. He pulled her closer, professional boundaries momentarily forgotten. 7 years ago, I thought I was protecting you. Now I realize I was just holding you back. No. Olivia touched his cheek. You gave me time to become strong enough for this fight. And now? Now we're both exactly where we need to be. Maya cleared her throat from the doorway. Sorry to interrupt the romantic epiphany, but our car's here. And Olivia, you might want to fix your lipstick before the meeting. They broke apart, laughing softly. As Olivia reached for her makeup bag, Alex caught her reflection in the window, confident, powerful, and utterly beautiful in her determination. Victoria won't know what hit her, Christina commented, gathering the last of their proposals. Oh, she will. Olivia's smile was both fierce and elegant. She'll know exactly what hit her, the truth. Again. The team moved out with purpose, their combined energy electric. In the elevator, Olivia felt Alex's hand find hers again, a silent promise of support. Maya and Christina exchanged knowing looks but said nothing. Seattle's fog had lifted, revealing a sky as clear as Olivia's vision for the future. Not just her future, but the future of sustainable fashion, of ethical production, of an industry built on creativity rather than destruction. Victoria had tried to write their ending again, thinking desperation would make her stronger. But she'd forgotten the most important lesson of fashion. True style isn't about destruction. It's about transformation. And Olivia Rose Cameron had become an expert at turning attacks into opportunities, fear into fuel, and old wounds into new beginnings. The car waited below, ready to carry them toward their next battle. But this time, Olivia wasn't fighting alone. This time, she had an army of truth at her back. And truth, like the perfect design, never goes out of style. The Phoenix Textiles boardroom felt like a battleground. Olivia stood at the head of the table, her midnight blue suit a statement of elegant authority. Behind her, projections showed sustainable fashion initiatives, market projections, and most importantly, the human cost of corporate predation. What Ms. Blackwell offers is money, Olivia concluded, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. What we're offering is legacy, a chance to lead the industry into ethical, sustainable production while maintaining your family's values. Robert Phoenix, the company's silver-haired CEO, leaned forward. Your proposals are impressive, Ms. Cameron, but Victoria's offer is a death sentence, Christina Wu interrupted, stepping forward. I know because she did the same thing to my suppliers before destroying my company. First comes the takeover, then the staff cuts, then the outsourcing to unregulated factories. Maya smoothly brought up new slides on the screen. These are the employment statistics from the last 3 companies Stella Corp acquired. Notice the pattern of layoffs disguised as restructuring. Alex's photos appeared next. Powerful images of abandoned factories, unemployed workers, communities devastated by corporate raiders who valued profit over people. Each image told a story that numbers alone couldn't convey. My father built this company on quality and integrity, Robert said quietly. But in today's market, integrity is becoming a premium brand value. Olivia moved closer, her passion evident in every word. Young consumers aren't just buying clothes anymore, they're buying values, stories, truth. A murmur ran through the board members. Olivia caught glimpses of nodding heads, thoughtful expressions. Our sustainable fashion initiative isn't just about materials, she continued. It's about people, communities, the future of fashion itself, and with Christina Wu's expertise, the boardroom door burst open. Victoria Blackwell strode in, looking elegant despite obvious jet lag. I apologize for my late arrival. Traffic from the airport was dreadful. This is a closed meeting, Robert began, but Victoria cut him off. A meeting about my offer. I believe that makes me a stakeholder. Her smile was razor sharp as she took in the room. Oh, and I brought some interesting documents about Ms. Cameron's own manufacturing practices. Olivia felt Alex step closer, his presence steady and grounding. More forgeries, Victoria? Like the ones that failed to destroy my reputation last week? Not forgeries. Victoria withdrew a file from her briefcase. Proof that your new, sustainable partner has her own history of cutting corners. Isn't that right, Ms. Wu? Christina's face paled slightly, but she held her ground. You mean the allegations your company fabricated 7 years ago? The ones that were proven false after you'd already destroyed my business? The board might be interested in seeing— Enough. Robert Phoenix's voice cracked like a whip. Ms. Blackwell, I've seen enough of your tactics. Your offer is rejected. Victoria's composure cracked. You can't. I can and I do. Phoenix Textiles will be partnering with Cameron Designs and Woo Sustainability to lead the industry's ethical manufacturing initiative. He turned to Olivia. Assuming you're still interested? Olivia's smile was radiant. More than interested. We're ready to begin immediately. Victoria moved forward, desperation breaking through her polished exterior. The money I'm offering is tainted. Robert cut in. Just like everything else you touch. He nodded to security. Please escort Ms. Blackwell out. As Victoria was led away, her fury evident in every rigid line of her body, she turned back. This isn't over, Olivia. You have no idea what's coming. Actually, Maya stepped forward, tablet raised. We do. Your board's vote of no confidence is trending on Twitter. Apparently, this little power play in Shanghai was the last straw. Victoria's face went ashen. She reached for her phone, fingers trembling slightly as she checked messages. Olivia moved to stand before her, close enough to speak privately. It's finished, Victoria. The only question is whether you'll leave with a shred of dignity or if we need to release Alex's complete documentation of your activities. For a moment, something almost like respect flickered in Victoria's eyes. Then her walls slammed back into place. Without another word, she turned and left, her heels clicking a retreat rhythm on the marble floors. The room exhaled collectively. Christina was already deep in discussion with Robert about implementation timelines. Maya coordinated with PR teams, ensuring the partnership announcement would hit at the perfect moment. Alex's hand found Olivia's, lower back. You did it. We did it. She turned to face him, aware of but not caring about their audience. All of us. His other hand cupped her cheek. The light in here is perfect. One last shot? Always the photographer, she teased, but held still as he raised his camera. Click. The image would later become iconic. Olivia Cameron, silhouetted against floor-to-ceiling windows, power and vulnerability perfectly balanced in her stance. A woman who had not just survived but transformed an industry's darkest tactics into its brightest future. But the real story was in the details no camera could capture. The way her hand found Alex's after the photo, the proud tears in Christina's eyes as she watched her own redemption unfold, the fierce joy in Maya's smile as she watched her best friend finally fully claim her power. Robert Phoenix approached with contracts ready. Shall we make it official? As Olivia signed her name, she felt the weight of the moment, not just for her company, but for every designer Victoria had tried to destroy. This wasn't just a business partnership, it was a revolution in silk and sustainability, in ethics and innovation. Your father would be proud, she heard Robert tell Christina quietly. He always said you'd change the industry. Christina wiped away a tear. We all will. Together. Later, as the team celebrated in Olivia's office, Maya raised a champagne. Toast. To new beginnings. To truth, Christina added. To transformation, Alex said softly, his eyes never leaving Olivia's face. Olivia looked around at her unlikely army, her best friend, her once-lost love, her newfound ally. Each one had played a crucial role in not just defeating Victoria, but in creating something entirely new from the ashes of what she'd tried to destroy. To design, she said finally, the kind that comes from the heart and changes the world. The Seattle sunset painted the sky in colors no designer could replicate, but watching it with Alex's arms around her, surrounded by the family, she'd chosen. Olivia knew some things couldn't be designed. They could only be lived. And this moment of triumph and transformation, of love reclaimed and purpose renewed, was better than any sketch she'd ever drawn. It was real. And it was just the beginning. 3 months later, Olivia stood in the center of her redesigned flagship store, watching the final preparations for tonight's grand reopening. The space had been transformed, just like everything else in her life. Sustainable materials mixed with cutting-edge design, creating an atmosphere that felt both innovative and timeless. The press is already lining up outside, Maya reported, her gold dress catching the early evening light. Every major fashion publication sent representatives. Even the Wall Street Journal is covering it. Olivia nodded, adjusting a display with precise movements. The headlines from this morning's fashion blog still felt surreal. Stella Corp CEO steps down amid controversy. Cameron Wu partnership revolutionizes sustainable fashion. Phoenix Textiles stock soars under new ethical initiative. Christina's flight landed 20 minutes ago, Maya continued. She'll be here for the ribbon cutting and the first collection. Maya's smile turned soft. Honey, it's perfect. Perfect. Once that word had been Olivia's armor. Now it felt more like freedom. She moved through the store, touching each piece in the new collection. These designs were different from anything she'd created before, still elegant and refined, but with an emotional depth that spoke of transformation, of truth finally embraced. You're doing that thing again. Alex's voice came from behind her, straightening things that are already straight. She turned to find him watching her with those gray-blue eyes that still made her heart skip. His camera hung at his side, but his gaze captured everything. Old habits, she admitted, letting her hands fall from the display. Good ones. He moved closer, adjusting her necklace, a delicate silver piece he'd given her last week, designed to match the curves of her collarbone. They got you here. We got here, she corrected, catching his hand. All of us. The store hummed with pre-opening energy. Staff made final adjustments while security coordinated crowd control outside. Through the windows, Seattle's early evening sky painted everything in shades of possibility. Maya appeared with a tablet. Final numbers from the pre-orders just came in. We've already exceeded our quarterly projections. And the ethical manufacturing initiative? Olivia asked. 3 major brands have signed on to our standards. Maya's smile was triumphant. Turns out doing the right thing is good business, who knew? Christina did, Alex said. You did. Even Victoria knew. It's why she fought so hard against it. Olivia moved to the window, watching the growing crowd outside. Fashion reporters, mingled with sustainability activists and loyal customers. A new kind of audience for a new kind of fashion. Speaking of Victoria, Maya added, sources say she's in Milan, trying to rebuild her reputation. But without her corporate backing, she'll have to create something real, Olivia finished. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Alex's camera clicked softly, capturing her silhouette against the window. She didn't need to look to know what. He saw, not just a successful designer, but a woman who had learned to turn vulnerability into strength. 10 minutes until opening, Maya announced. I'll get everyone in position. As Maya coordinated the final preparations, Alex drew Olivia aside. I have something for you. He pulled a small package from his camera bag, wrapped in simple white paper. Inside, Olivia found a leather-bound album. Open it, he encouraged softly. The first photo was from 7 years ago, her first show, captured from a distance. Page by page, the album told their story, her rise in the industry, his hidden support, the moments of triumph and transformation that had brought them here. The final page held the photo from the Phoenix Textiles boardroom, but it wasn't the official shot. Instead, it captured the moment just after, when she'd turned to find him watching her. The love in both their expressions was undeniable. Our story isn't finished, Alex said quietly. There are still pages to fill. Olivia traced the empty pages at the end of the album. Together this time? Together. He kissed her softly, tasting of promise and possibility. No more distance, no more hiding. Maya's discreet cough interrupted them. Sorry, lovebirds, but it's showtime. They joined Christina at the entrance, where reporters and cameras waited. The ribbon-cutting ceremony would officially launch not just a new collection, but a new era in fashion, one built on transparency, sustainability, and truth. "Ready?" Christina asked, her eyes bright with shared triumph. Olivia looked at her. Team, her family really. Maya, who had never stopped believing in her. Christina, who had turned shared pain into revolutionary change. And Alex, who had protected her heart until she was strong enough to protect herself. "Ready," she said, meaning it completely. The doors opened to applause and camera flashes. Olivia stepped forward into the light, feeling more authentic than she ever had behind her old walls of perfection. Later that night, after the speeches and celebrations, she found herself back in her studio. The space felt different now, less like a fortress and more like a canvas. New sketches covered her design table, each one a promise of things to come. Alex found her there, as she knew he would. "The party's still going strong downstairs." "I know," she smiled, not looking up from her sketch. "I just needed a moment to start something new." He moved behind her, studying the design taking shape under her pencil. It was a wedding dress, not traditional white, but a subtle blend of starlight and shadow, strength and vulnerability perfectly balanced. "That's beautiful," he said softly. "It's mine." She turned to face him, heart open and unarmored. "For, when you're ready to ask the question I see in your eyes every morning." His breath caught. "Olivia? I'm not asking you to ask now," she continued. "I'm just letting you know that when you do." She gestured to the sketch. "The design is ready." He pulled her close, his kiss tasting of future promises. Outside, Seattle's night sky sparkled with the same starlight she'd woven into her sketch. Maya found them there a while later, lost in each other and possibilities. "Hate to interrupt the romance, but Christina's about to toast the future of ethical fashion, and she insists both designers be present." Olivia gathered her sketches, including the wedding dress design. As she moved to the door, she caught her reflection in the window. Her platinum hair was slightly mussed from Alex's fingers, her blue-gray eyes bright with joy. No armor in sight. No armor needed. "Coming?" Alex held out his hand. She took it, feeling the perfect rightness of his fingers laced with hers. Always. Together they rejoined their celebration, not just of professional triumph, but of love rebuilt, trust restored, and truth finally, fully embraced. Some designs were meant to protect, but the best ones, Olivia had learned, were meant to set you free. And this design, this life she was creating with Alex, Maya, Christina, and all the truth-tellers who had joined their cause, was her masterpiece. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. And that was better than perfect, ever could be. 1 year later, the rooftop garden of Cameron Designs glowed with thousands of tiny lights, each one reflecting off the crystalline Seattle skyline. Olivia stood at the mirror in her private studio, watching as Maya made final adjustments to her wedding dress, the same one she'd sketched that night after the store reopening. "Not a single adjustment needed," Maya said, smoothing the fabric that seemed to capture starlight itself. "When you design your own wedding dress, I guess it fits perfectly the first time." Olivia touched the delicate beading at her waist, each crystal catching light like a captured star. The design was everything she'd envisioned. A perfect balance of strength and vulnerability, just like the love it represented. "Christina's downstairs keeping the press in check," Maya continued, adjusting Olivia's loose platinum waves. "Vogue really wanted exclusive coverage, but she convinced them this one moment belonged just to us." "Us" meaning the 150 guests waiting in the garden? Olivia smiled, remembering how their intimate ceremony had grown to include the extended family they'd built. Designers, manufacturers, and activists who'd joined their ethical fashion revolution. "You know what I mean." Maya's eyes misted slightly as she stepped back to admire her work. "Your real family." A knock at the door revealed Christina, radiant in her maid of honor dress, a design Olivia had created specifically for her. "Ready?" Alex is practically vibrating with anticipation, and I think his best man is about to sedate him. Olivia took one last look in the mirror. The woman who gazed back wasn't the defensive, armored designer of a year ago. This woman's eyes shone with confidence, her smile genuine and unguarded. "The lighting's perfect up here," she said softly. Alex would say that it makes everything look more honest. His voice came from the doorway, and all three women whirled to face him. "Alexander Reed!" Maya moved to block his view. "It's bad luck to see the bride before." "It's okay." Olivia's voice was sure. "We've had enough of keeping distance." Alex stepped into the room, camera in hand despite his immaculate tuxedo. His gray-blue eyes took her in with a photographer's precision and a lover's awe. "You're supposed to be downstairs," Christina scolded, but she was smiling. "I know." He hadn't taken his eyes off Olivia. "But the light up here, I couldn't resist one last shot before you're officially my wife." Maya and Christina exchanged knowing looks before slipping out, closing the door behind them. Alex raised his camera. "May I?" Olivia turned to the window, letting the city lights create a natural halo around her. No pose, no artifice. Just truth. Click. "Perfect," he whispered, lowering the camera. "I thought we agreed nothing had to be perfect anymore." "Some things just are." He moved closer, careful not to touch her dress. "Like the way you finally designed exactly what you wanted, not what you thought you should want." She touched the starlight fabric of her dress. "I had a good inspiration. The dress is stunning." His hand found hers. "But I meant your life. Our life." Through the open windows they could hear their guests gathering. Music drifted up, the string quartet beginning their prelude. In a few minutes they would walk down the aisle together, rejecting tradition for truth, just as they had in everything else. "Victoria sent a gift," Olivia said suddenly, "from Paris." "I know." A handwritten note of apology and congratulations. Alex's thumb traced patterns on her palm. Maya had it checked for hidden daggers. Olivia laughed. "She's changed. Her new ethical couture line is actually impressive. You helped her find her truth too." He kissed her forehead softly. "You have a gift for that." Below, the music shifted. Their cue was approaching. "Ready to scandalize the fashion world by walking down the aisle together?" Olivia asked. "Ready to scandalize them for the rest of our lives," he replied. They descended to the garden arm in arm, emerging into a wonderland of lights and flowers. Their guests rose, not in obligation but in celebration. Maya and Christina waited at the altar, both wiping tears while pretending not to. Later, after vows were exchanged and toasts were made, Alex found Olivia at the edge of the dance floor. Without a word, he raised his camera one last time. Click. The final shot captured everything: the joy in her eyes, the love in his smile, the future stretching bright before them. Not perfect, but real. And that was the most beautiful design of all. If you were in Olivia's shoes, would you have forgiven Alex for keeping that secret for 7 years, even though you knew he did it to protect his career? Or are some betrayals, even with good intentions, unforgivable? Your participation in the channel is very important. Please leave your opinion in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought. Your feedback and support mean a lot to us. Stay tuned for more exciting stories.